The proposed mercury rule would reduce over 80% of mercury from said power plants and over half of the sulfur dioxide from those plants. The good news is that some power plants from around the country already have the sort of technology that would allow them to comply with this proposed rule. The industry, working together with local communities, can do better, and indeed we all must do better to ensure the health of our children. Mercury turns up in the fish we eat. Almost every state in the nation has a mercury catch warning, restricting and limiting the amount of fish we can eat from our local streams. In a business-as-usual approach, can you imagine the very activity your grandfathers, my grandfathers, all our grandfathers took us out towards, going fishing and then cooking that fish, that we won't be able to do that with our grandchildren, and that our children's children won't be able to do that either in a business-as-usual approach? Will we, as Francis Schaeffer, famous evangelical apologist, once said in his Pollution and the Death of Man, become a society that has killed its very soul in pursuit of things that will never satisfy? Who are we willing to sacrifice for our own ways? I say all of this because it's important for you to realize that as a pro-life organization, EEN takes an additional approach. For us, our advocacy in speaking out on mercury is an outflow of this life perspective. In our perspective, up to 1 in 6 children, over 700,000 a year, are born with unsafe amounts of mercury toxin in their blood. Even one unborn child being impacted by mercury pollution is enough for us to act as a society. Life is precious, life is sacred, and should be valued. Evangelicals are engaged on this sort of issue because it's a life-related issue. Several prominent groups and ministries are joining with us. They'll be part of the statements we submit to ask the EPA to do what it long ago should have done, reduce the amount of mercury toxin in our environment. Mercury is unlike some toxins. Once it is released, it cannot be easily cleaned up in the environment. It is a cumulative toxin, therefore the urgency to act is clear. I'm going to close with this. Our scriptures often teach us that in his justice, God has a special concern for the poor, for the widow, the orphan, the sojourner, the oppressed, and for little children. In other words, Christian justice demands that we give special attention to those whom Jesus calls the least of these brothers of mine, those least able to protect themselves. In fact, in our tradition, we believe that what we do unto the least of these, we do unto Jesus himself. We cannot, as a community, pass by while our fellows are harmed. We cannot pass this problem on to another generation. For the sake of our children, we at EEN urge you to act to defend those least able to defend themselves.